Hi, and welcome to the Google Apps for Business Quarterly Innovation and Review video. In this video, we will cover launches that happened in the Google Apps for Business suite in the second quarter of the year. My name is Hicham Alaoui, and I'm a Product Marketing Manager covering Google Apps for Business. The agenda for this video is as follows. We'll start with a brief word on innovation at Google and the business value that organizations are deriving from Google Apps. Then we'll go to what was new in the second quarter of the year. We'll look at updates that happened in Google Docs and Sites, Gmail and Google Calendar, the Google Apps Marketplace, and finally administrative capabilities within the Google Apps suite. We'll end with a quick word on how to keep up with future updates. But before we go into the launches last quarter, I wanted to start with a brief word on innovation. So today, Google Apps for Business is the most affordable way for organizations to deliver business-grade messaging and collaboration tools to their employees. But as other vendors reduce their prices, it's really Google's innovation advantage that will continue to set Google Apps apart. I also wanted to give some background for those of you who may not be familiar with the Google Apps for Business suite. Now, Gmail for Business offers 25 gigabytes of storage per user, powerful spam filtering, BlackBerry and Outlook interoperability, and a 99.9% uptime service level agreement. Integrated into Gmail, you also have Google Talk, which offers the ability to take conversations from email and start instant messages, phone calls, or video conferences with your colleagues. Then you have Google Groups, which can be used as mailing lists and to share calendars, documents, sites, and videos easily with coworkers. Google Calendar is a web-based calendar application that enables employees to manage meetings online. Now, Google Docs is a suite of web-based documents, spreadsheets, drawings, and presentations that let users edit the same file at the same time, so everyone is always working on the latest version of a document. Google Cloud Connect for Microsoft Office brings this collaborative multi-person editing to the familiar Microsoft Office experience, so you can share, backup, and simultaneously edit Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, and Excel documents with coworkers. With Google Sites, you have an easy way to create secure web pages for intranets and team projects without any coding or prior HTML experience required. Google Video is a tool to securely host and stream videos within your organizations, so employees don't need to share videos over email or burden IT with a complex on-site video solution. Lastly, Postini is a suite of hosted security and archiving services for email. Google Apps for Business has seen tremendous growth and adoption throughout the world. Today we have over 3 million businesses and 30 million users worldwide who are using Google Apps to power their business. We have just a sample of some of our customers here, and you can find many more on our website. Now, the reason that these customers have embraced Google Apps, we think, is that they want to switch to a new innovation curve. You have these two curves here that represent the choice that's offered to businesses today in terms of collaboration and messaging suites. The green line represents the step-ladder pace of innovation that you get with traditional IT vendors, where there's a big upgrade every few years. In contrast, the blue line offers a smoother stream of innovation, and that's where Google Apps sits. We are always making our products better based on feedback from millions of users, as well as constant iterative testing to improve performance, reliability, and security. Users automatically get new features just by refreshing their browsers, and administrators have full controls on rolling out changes to their organizations without having to manage patches or hardware upgrades. Now, we've launched more than 50 improvements just in the past 3 months, as we're going to see, and the pace of innovations continues to accelerate. These innovations drive radical productivity gains. We did a study with the Forrester Group where they held multiple interviews with large enterprise customers and found that productivity gains are 2.5 times the value of the cost savings that organizations have obtained by switching to Google Apps. Typically, organizations see over 300% ROI with payback in under 7 months. For more information on this study, you can download the detailed reports at the link on the slide. Now let's jump into the launches that we've seen over the past quarter. We're starting with Google Docs and Sites. Google Docs and Sites were structured to provide teams with the best tools to work smarter together, and we've released a number of updates and launches in the past quarter that help us achieve this goal. We really think that collaboration is at an inflection point in the Google Apps suite. We had a complete rewrite of Google Docs about 1.5 years ago, which was followed by the introduction of mobile editing in Google Docs, and then more recently an increasing array of file types that you can view with Google Docs. And today we really feel that in terms of adoption, but also in terms of feature comprehensiveness, Google Docs and Google Sites are going mainstream. First off, we launched the Google Docs application for Android. So now you can find and edit your documents through a native application for Android. Some of the features on the app include a widget that makes it easy to create new documents and access your stored items, the ability to open documents directly from Gmail, the ability to OCR or take a picture of something and have optical character recognition to create documents from photos on your phone, and also the ability to share documents with contacts on your phone. By the way, as I go through this presentation, you'll notice links at the bottom of the screen where you can go and find out more information about each of the launches that we're going to cover. We also launched a new system of discussions in Google Docs. So comments, what used to be comments in Google Docs, have been updated to facilitate much richer and better discussions that are seamlessly integrated into your email. You can now resolve comments to remove them from the visible document and view them later by clicking on the discussions button at the top of any document. You can also integrate comments with your inbox to facilitate more rapid and responsive communication. So for example, you can add someone to a discussion in a document with an @mention. So for example, if you typed @eddie@autostrat.com in a discussion, that would send a notification email to Eddie with the text of your comments. That's what you can see in the screenshot here. You then have the ability to open the document from the email or simply to reply from the email, and the reply will show up in the comments as soon as the email is sent. So in the screenshots here, you can see that Scott sent an email to Eddie or a comment to Eddie. Eddie replied right in Gmail, and then that reply showed up in the document as well. We've also enriched the commenting feature with analytics. Now by clicking the discussions button and then the document stats link, you can see the 7-day activity of your document. Google Cloud Connects for Microsoft Office lets you easily sync Office documents up to Google Docs and collaborate on them with others. We've improved Google Cloud Connects with the following new features. First of all, now you can open any Microsoft Office file stored in Google Docs directly from within Microsoft Office. For example, if you're working in Microsoft PowerPoint, you will see a list of all the PowerPoint files available in Google Docs. You can then select the file that you want to download and open. And after you select a file to open, the file will be downloaded to your computer and opened automatically. In addition to this feature, we've also launched an interface for Google Cloud Connect in over 38 languages, including Japanese, Korean, Thai, Vietnamese, Chinese, and a number of other Asian languages. Lastly, we've also launched the ability to minimize the plugins toolbar. Moving back to Google Docs, we've launched Pagination, so Google Docs now supports the ability to see visual pages on your screen. Additionally, Chrome users can now print directly from the browser. We've also launched a whole host of new features in Google Spreadsheets, starting with multiple range charts and the ability to hide individual sheets in your spreadsheets, both of which are pictured in this screenshot. We've also launched pivot tables, which was a much awaited feature by many of our users. So now you can analyze data in Google Spreadsheets using pivot tables. Now, pivot tables allow you to quickly summarize data from different viewpoints. We've also launched the ability to filter in Google Spreadsheets. So now you can add a filter onto a set of data to quickly narrow down the data set and find the data you're really looking after. By selecting a data set, you can filter and sort amongst many rows all at once. In addition to this, for Google Spreadsheets, we also launched improved printing options. So now you can choose to include titles, sheet names, and page numbers when printing your spreadsheets. Additionally, we've added support for printing spreadsheets from mobile devices using Google Cloud Print. So now you can print a spreadsheet while you're on the go. Moving on to Google Docs Drawings, we've launched revisions and presence in drawings. So with revisions, you can look at previous versions of the document and revert to any previous version of the drawing that you want to go back to. We've also launched presence, so now the color that you see besides a person's name in the sidebar is used to highlight the shapes which that person has selected. In addition, we also launched Format Painter in recent colors, so it's easier to apply the same formatting and colors across your shapes. And lastly, we have subgroup selection, so if you need to modify just one item within a group, you can do this by selecting a shape within a group. Now, to get your documents and files into Google Docs, we've launched new upload features. So now you can have folder uploads that maintain the folder structure on your desktop. We also have an upload page that's integrated into the Google Docs list, and settings that remember your conversion and OCR preferences for the next time you do an upload. Lastly, we also have the ability to drag and drop files to the Docs list for an upload. Now in Google Sites, we've launched an integration with Google Apps Script. So as background, again, Google Sites makes it easy for organizations to create and manage their intranets or external web pages. By making content management available to non-technical users, information is managed by more people, making it more relevant and up to date. So Google Sites is a really easy way to share information within your organization. But sometimes intranets have more complex needs, like content varied on based on an employee's location, or information in another system that needs to be presented in the site, or a project tracker with a custom workflow. These are just some examples of the types of needs that we can now support with further integration between Google Sites and Google Apps Script that really allows for custom applications to be built within your Google Sites. Also in Google Sites, you now have the ability to recover deleted sites. So we've recently released this ability. If an owner of a site accidentally deletes a site, it will be immediately removed from view, but they may recover it by visiting the URL within 30 days. Once 30 days have elapsed, it won't be possible to recover the site under any circumstance, and it will be permanently deleted. And still in Google Sites, we've also launched web fonts, so now you can customize your sites with over 100 new fonts. We've also added the ability to change font sizes and selectively apply styling to a page or to an entire site. Now moving on to Gmail and Google Calendar. Again, the overarching objective for these products was to create the best messaging and calendaring solutions for businesses. And here too, we've made a number of improvements in the second quarter of the year. Starting with an updated contacts interface. So you can now store up to 25,000 contacts in Gmail, and we've also increased the size limit for an individual entry from 32 kilobytes to 128 kilobytes. We've also added a number of business-specific features to help business workers get in touch with contacts more easily. So for example, you can now add new contact information that will default to work instead of the home field types. You can also view domain directory contact details interwoven in line with any contact details that you've added yourself. So you see in the screenshot here that for the work address, that field comes from the domain profile. You can also manage groups more easily by quickly adding email addresses to groups, and by picking from a contact's multiple addresses to use on a group-by-group basis. So if you had a personal email address and a professional email address for your colleague, you could specify that when you're emailing your basketball buddies, for example, to use the personal address, but when you're emailing your work group for the email system, to use the corporate address of that person. Now speaking of people, we've also launched the People widget in Gmail. Now email is really just as much about the people you communicate with as it is about what you communicate about. And we think it can be helpful to view relevant information in context, which is why we launched this new People widget in Gmail. So the widget surfaces content from friends, family, and colleagues that's already available to you, but may be hard to find, and makes it easier to connect with them. The widget also makes it very easy to start a group chat or schedule a meeting with the people you're emailing. Last quarter, we also graduated a couple labs from Gmail. So the two Gmail labs, Don't Forget Bob and Got the Wrong Bob, have now graduated. These two features prevent you from making two common mistakes, which are forgetting to include someone on an email and sending a message to the wrong person with a similar name to the person you're meaning to email. Moving on to custom background images in Gmail. So if Gmail themes have been allowed by a domain administrator, users can now customize their own inbox by uploading a background image to Gmail. And on a more serious note, we've also launched anti-phishing security features. Phishing messages are a form of spam that attempt to deceive recipients in order to gain access to their personal information. And we've released two security enhancements to Gmail that help protect you from phishing attempts. So going forward, email addresses will be visible next to the display name for senders that aren't in your contact list. So in this screenshot here, you see the email for Mike Wardell is displayed right next to his name because he's not in my contact database. We also now scan messages and alert you if the sender may have spoofed a Gmail address. So in the second screenshot here, you see that there's a warning, this message may not have been sent by the person who's claiming to have sent this message. And one of the features we've launched in mobile Gmail is the ability to undo. So now you can undo archives, deletions, additions, or removal of a label, or movement of a message or conversation for a few seconds after performing that action in the mobile web app. Moving on to Google Calendar, we've launched color coding of events. So if your calendar ends up full of many different types of events like film nights or doctor's appointments or meetings, now there's an easy way to categorize them using colors. On Google Calendar, we've also launched appointment slots, so now you can manage your online availability with Google Calendar. Once you've set up blocks of time you'd like to offer as appointment slots or office hours, coworkers and clients can sign up via your personal appointment sign-up page. Now the next set of launches we want to talk about is the Google Apps Marketplace. And the point of the Google Apps Marketplace is really to extend Google Apps to meet all of your business needs. So the Marketplace makes it easy to find, buy, and deploy web applications that integrate seamlessly with Google Apps. So we started with a celebration of a milestone for the Google Apps Marketplace. It's been now over a year that we've launched, and it's been a very successful year, bringing over 300 new integrated applications to our users around the world. The selection in the Google Apps Marketplace has grown from 50 applications to over 300 apps in a year, and these include great applications for CRM, project management, customer support, finance, email marketing, and more. What we've learned in this year of operating the Google Apps Marketplace is that web app adoption is accelerating across every business function and need. That our customers value web applications that work together, what we call integrated apps, and that it's become very hard to evaluate and select the right application given the number of new apps coming to market and their increasing specialization. So one feature we've launched to make this a little bit easier is the TrustE data privacy certification. TrustE is an administered data privacy certification program for marketplace apps. So marketplace apps can verify that they clearly communicate their data handling and privacy practices, and if they meet the requirements, they'll display a green TrustE logo on the app's marketplace listing page. The logo then links to a certification summary with more specific information about the app. In the realm of administrative controls, again, the goal for administrative controls in Google Apps is to deliver business-grade management tools, integration, security, and reliability. And the first thing we've done here is created a new two-track release process that is rolled out to all Google Apps domain. This new process is aimed at helping administrators balance the benefits of accessing improvements as soon as they're ready with the task of integrating the changes into their organization. Our new process has two release tracks that Google Apps administrators can choose from. The first is the Rapid Release track. Customers on the Rapid Release track have access to new features as soon as the features have completed testing and quality assurance and are ready to roll out. On the Scheduled Release track, customers gain access to new features on a regular weekly release schedule following the initial release of those features. This delay allows time for administrators to familiarize themselves with new features using a test domain, educate support staff, and communicate any changes to their users. New features will be released on the Scheduled Release track each Tuesday with at least a 1-week notice following the initial feature launch. Now to go with this new feature release process, we've also developed a new launch communication tool for all users that brings together all the information you need to track Google Apps releases. This portal can be found at whatsnew.googleapps.com, and it's a great place to learn about recent and upcoming features as well as find training resources for your users. Now another much anticipated feature that we launched this quarter is Delegated Administration. So managing Google Apps for an entire organization is not always a one-size-fits-all job. Google Apps administrators often need to securely share management responsibilities with others, and these others may need to have access to certain administrative privileges, for instance like user creation, password resets, or managing groups, but not to all of them. So to address these needs, we launched Delegated Administration for Google Apps for Business. Now, administrators now have the ability to delegate admin rights to users and customize what tasks these delegated admins are allowed to perform in the control panel. This feature allows the primary administrators, or super admins, to share some management tasks like password resets and user creation, but not the ability to delete users or disable an entire service like Gmail, for example. This control also gives super admins the ability to restrict delegated admins from seeing certain tabs in the control panel, such as advanced tools or support. We've also launched the Google Apps Admin Audit API, which allows administrators to survey the activities of all of the account's administrators in the control panel. We also launched new security features for Android. So now you can secure lost or stolen Android devices and tablets using the Google Apps Device Policy application through the My Devices website. This includes resetting device pins, locating devices, and ringing devices remotely. You can also encrypt data on Android devices, and you can find contact information for any user in your company's directory through the Lookup app. We've also updated the Email Settings API to include the following functionality for administrators. Now you can add a Gmail delegate, retrieve all Gmail delegates, or delete a Gmail delegate. We've also added the ability to forward an email, never send an email to spam, star an email, or send an email to trash, all of which you couldn't do previously through the API. For Gmail themes, we've also added a checkbox to enable or disable Gmail themes for users from the administrator control panel. And in the next set of slides, we'll talk about updates to the various migration and sync tools that are available for Google Apps. Starting with GATS, or Google Apps Directory Sync Tool. We've launched a new version of the tool which includes such features as improved sync performance, passwordless OAuth support, support for syncing calendar resources, improved self-diagnostics and error reporting, as well as several bug fixes. Similarly, we've also updated the migration tool for Lotus Notes. So now it supports the resource provisioning from Domino Rooms and Resources, resource calendar migration, live migration views, an integrated migration calculator which lets you determine the time and bandwidth requirements for select users to migrate their data to Google Apps. We also allow you to load groups and resources prior to migration and send a detailed events log to the administration log. And lastly, the web authorization page now sends details events to the administration log as well. We've also launched the GAMME 2.2. GAMME stands for the Google Apps Migration for Microsoft Exchange. GAMME 2.2 supports Microsoft Exchange 2010, as well as improved handling of primary and secondary calendars from PST files, and several bug fixes for IMAP. Similarly, for the Google Apps sync for Microsoft Outlook, now users can sync Outlook Notes with the Google Docs account. So this means that your notes in Outlook are synchronized with your Google Docs account in the cloud, which in turn syncs them with any other device where you open the same Outlook profile. We've also updated the Google Apps migration for Microsoft Outlook, which now supports OAuth, as well as signing in using single sign-on systems, and a command line flag to disable calendar fanouts, which is useful when you're performing test migrations. Lastly, we also launched the ability to rename users and transfer documents from the Google Apps control panel. So administrators can now transfer all documents owned by one user to another, and they can also very easily rename a user's email address. So that was a very quick whirlwind tour through the improvements that we've launched in last quarter. If you look at the past year, we've launched over 150 improvements in the last 12 months. And as you can see from this very quick overview, the pace of innovation continues to grow. So think back to the two innovation curves we saw earlier and ask yourself, which curve do you want to be on? We're very excited about what's in store for Google Apps, and to keep up with our new features and products, you can follow us on Twitter, subscribe to the Google Apps Update RSS feed, or sign up for email alert. Lastly, if you've been watching this video but you're not using Google Apps yet, you can give it a try today. Go to google.com/apps and sign up for a free 30-day trial. That wraps up our Q2 Innovation and Review webinar. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more updates on Google Apps.